Hi, welcome to the Coaching Game. I'm Laurie Lawson, and tonight I am so thrilled that my guest is Jamie Faye. Hey, Jamie Faye.
Hi. Hi, everyone.
I have to tell you, Jamie is she's my computer guru, first of all. She teaches me how to do all kinds of stuff. She demands that I do it. but she works for Points of View in Israel. And so we've been talking back and forth for so long. And finally, she's in America, and we got her on the show. So I am thrilled to have you here. Let me tell them just a bit about Points of View, which you could do with your eyes closed, I'm sure. But this show is based on Points of View, the coaching game, which is a fantastic coaching tool, one of the best I've ever found, that was created by, I can't say anything but geniuses, because I could never have done this. And it's designed to bring right and left brain thinking together. And the results are really kind of amazing. So my thought was, well, let's introduce this to people and introduce cool and groovy people who are doing stuff with it. And tonight we have both. Da-da-da.
Da-da.
She's here. So, Jamie, first of all, give us a little bit of your background, because I know you have a long and diverse, you're not that old, but you have a long and diversified background. So tell us a little bit how you got into coaching, because my theory is that coaching calls who it wants, and I bet you it called you.
For sure.
Yeah,
thank you.
right?
What a great question. I'm originally from New York, even though I live in Tel Aviv. Like you said, I work with Point of View, and I come from background in music. I studied classical music, growing up, and I went to school for jazz. I was a jazz vocalist, and I played classical cello for 10 years. And after that, I moved a little bit to the music business and was a producer. And created CD DVDs with a wonderful producer here in the tri-state area. I happen to know how old
she is. This is amazing.
I'm
she
30.
should be at least 10 years older by now, but she's not even gotten to where she is, yes.
And I'm really lucky. I've done a lot of all over the place things, but I've enjoyed everything. And like you said, everything led to something else and brought me to coaching. And then I was an artist manager during that whole experience, and it was that experience and working with kids actually with an experiential teaching method of teaching English that brought me to coaching. You
taught English here?
I taught English in Israel.
Oh, okay.
I did a lot of things in between, but I have a lot of background in business development and sales and all kinds of industries. And then I moved to Israel, and I taught English, and I did all kinds of things. And I realized that as an artist manager, I was coaching people. That being an artist manager is really what you're doing. You're the personal support, you're the professional support and the professional guidance to someone, to an artist. And I realized that I was already coaching, and I wanted to be a coach. That's what I wanted to do all the time. And that I wanted to work with all ages, but I needed to start somewhere. So I fell in love with the method of, it's actually Tony Robbins and Chloe Madanis, their school called Strategic Intervention. And I studied that and became a strategic intervention coach. It's very hard to say. Strategic intervention.
But worth the effort, yes.
For sure. And then, should I say how I found Points of View?
Sure. Let me just tell you that I think it's so funny, because I hear that all the time, and that's my experience. It's like one day you turn around and you go, coaching. I'm doing that. You mean I can get paid to do this? And it's like, wait a minute. This doesn't make any sense. I've been doing it all along. I think that's how, thank God that we discovered there was a coaching field. But yeah, that's so interesting that was your experience too.
Absolutely.
It's like, wait a minute, I'm doing this.
Absolutely. And as a singer, as a musical artist, I would say always, I don't want to be famous. I had a little bit of stage fright. Like, I didn't really want to be out there all the time, but I really wanted to sing. I really wanted to connect with people. I wanted to make people feel. I wanted to have them that, we talk about a Point of View, that authentic dialogue, but give them that time of that authentic feeling that music can give you or allow you to be in that moment. So then I became a coach, and I was looking for a tool. My coaching is very dynamic, has a lot of experiential, really like strategies, and I was looking for something tangible. So I went online onto YouTube and looked up coaching tools, and the first video I got was the Points of View ICF video, which I'm sure you know very well.
Very well. Yeah, I think I might be in it.
I think you're in it. And that was the first time we met, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
3 years ago. And I saw, wow, I need that. So I went onto the link.
So funny that of all the Google things.
The first YouTube, the first thing that came up, and it was the coaching game, and there was a beautiful discount for the coaching game in Punctum, so I bought both. Okay. And then I got an email from the Israeli office that, you know, your tools are on the way, etc. And then I saw from or love, you know, sending love from Naama in Israel and Tel Aviv, and I was like, that's great. They have a branch in Tel Aviv.
Because we think in New York, everything starts here.
And that's so great. So they're local. I could go and talk with them. And then they called me to confirm that my address was correct. And then I realized they're an Israeli company. Then they're only in Tel Aviv.
Right.
And then it all just kind of happened where I looked into who works there, and I would love to work there. And I was always getting closer and closer to working for a company that matched my personal and professional mission. And sometimes that can often be hard to find, like you said, get paid for something you love, that you agree with the mission, the movement, what they're doing. So I started my path to work there.
Now, why Israel? Do you have people in Israel? Did you?
Why did I move to Israel?
Yeah.
Good question. I'm Jewish, so I grew up with the love for Israel and had visited as a child with my family, and then I just wanted to experience it. When I was about 20-something, 7 years ago, I said, when I graduate university, I would really like to live there and see what it's like, and plan to live there half a year, and now I'm there almost 6 years.
Wow.
So
looks like you found a home.
We plan and someone laughs.
I have that magnet on my refrigerator.
Yeah.
It's like a nice plan, good idea. Let's see where you really end up.
Yep.
So Points of View kind of called you, coaching called you, Points of View called you. And which came first? Was it first you were the coach, and then you had Points of View, and that enhances what you're doing? Or have you built your coaching around Points of View?
For sure. No, I really added it to my coaching. The coaching that I learned it's a very good match for Points of View, for a tool, which is why I went searching for a tool, because the strategies that we use are very, like I said, dynamic, that include visualization and all kinds of things that are very special and unique. As well, I'm a yoga teacher, and I'm an experiential learner. I'm a very kinesthetic learner. So people ask me for phone numbers, and I go use my finger to tell them what the phone number is to remember, and then I say it, and they look at me, "You're strange." So I just don't remember without using my body. Yeah. So I also became a yoga teacher at the same time that I became a coach. And everything, all three really go together, because they're experiential tools. They're different, like you said, using the right brain and the left brain, using your body. I think it's really important that we use our bodies. It's how we also, make new behaviors stick, by making them match movement and breathing. Thank you. Yeah. Sometimes my English, I forget it. So they all just work together.
Yeah, I had someone on who does body imaging, and she said that I forget the statistic. I'll say 70. I could be right. I could be wrong. 70% of our communication is physical. Yeah. And the other is that. So it's like it's good to listen, but it's also good to see body, which I find contradictory to American coaching. Now I know in Israel most of it is face to face, right? In America, it's like we pick up the phone.
Virtual.
And so it requires heavy-duty listening. And I split mine up with 50% face-to-face and 50% phone, but I like the face-to-face better, because you can see an eye twitch or something, that you really can't see on the phone.
And the bonding between you and your client comes so much quicker. Yes. Even Skype, the difference between phone and Skype, by seeing someone and seeing their smile and their eyes and this.
Yeah,
It's just
or
different.
like somebody going back. You can just there are things, but whatever. That's why I've found a couple of ways that you can use points of view, mostly Skype, because it's very visual and it really works with images. But you can use that like even over the phone. And sometimes I'll send the person a card, or I'll send. And Punctum came out. Punctum. I used to call it an appetizer, but it's really not. It's a meal unto itself.
For sure.
And a lot of good results. I think even a little faster sometimes. But that has words and questions and pictures. And
Photo cards that don't have words on them.
Exactly.
Unlike the coaching game, which has photos and a topic on top.
That may not be congruent. It could just be something off the wall, but it makes somehow your brain just wraps around it. I love that when I see that happen. But Punctum has all of that. So sometimes I've heard coaches who tell me that when they're stuck for a question, they'll just pick one of the Punctum questions and go, oh, blah, blah, blah. What should you be doing next to advance your career? Whatever.
No, that's a great point.
Yeah.
Often people ask us, we get a lot of questions about if the cards are like tarot cards. Or something.
That's the only problem I find, that they think they are tarot cards.
And I think the answer we give as well, there are similarities and differences. They're both cards. They both have images, but our tools are photographs and not drawings, which is different.
Yes.
And two, at the same time, some people sometimes say it's like the cards choose you.
Yes, I always
but
believe
you
that.
could call it magic or whatever you want, but you can also use it in a completely logical way or leave the tarot out of it and it works. It just
I agree.
works.
And I never do the cards face up. What we're talking about.
Yeah.
It's just a card that has a
what a
picture
good one.
and an image, and it's difficulty. With shoes in the mud and toes dirty and stuff like that. But I never have people draw them face up because I think it's distracting. And I truly believe that the cards call them, so it's like, and I'll find when I'm doing layouts, they say, how did you make me choose those cards? It's like, I didn't touch those cards, it's you. But it's just amazing how it works. So tell us what you do behind the scenes. I know some of the stuff you do, she's very busy. But tell us what you do behind the scenes at Points of View, and how do you manage to fit in coaching? Because I know you are a little worker bee back there.
Right now I fit in very little coaching. I do some workshops on the side when I can, but what I do at Points of View is, at Points of View we have the tools, right? So we have the coaching game and Punctum. We also have trainers like you and coaches who have become Points of View trainers all over the world. We have almost 250.
Wow.
Yeah,
I remember when I started, I just looked and it was 2014, I think, or 2012 or 13, and there were like 35. We were the initial class. That's amazing. Yeah.
So almost 250 in almost 60 countries. So, so we have our wonderful trainers. And then we have almost 20, about 19 country leaders who are business partners all over the world, who are the founders of Points of View in their respective countries and translated the games into their languages, as you've heard. So we have the coaching.
How many languages is it in now?
19. That includes Spanish and a few versions of Spanish.
19.
Yes.
There were 2 when I started.
Yep. So the coaching game in 19 and Punctum coming up on, I'm not sure, 12-ish or something like this. So we have in Japanese, Hebrew, English, of course, German, Italian, Spanish, several Spanishes. Yes. What else? Norwegian, Polish, Russian, Portuguese, Brazilian Portuguese, lots of languages.
Wow.
So I'm responsible for supporting our trainers and our country leaders. So that means a little bit of business development, supporting them in, completing their certification process, which we work on very closely together.
Yes, we do.
And helping them brainstorm workshops, also future workshops, and building their businesses. A lot of our trainers are like us, coaches, self-employed, small business owners. So, yeah.
It's just the way it's grown, but I'm so pleased. I know when someone came to me, I was president of ICF New York City, and she said, I have a tool I want to show you, and she called me on the phone. I went, yeah, sure, come over. And I didn't even, all she had to do was pull this out. She didn't even open it. I went, I want to be involved. I don't know what, just talk about
it's
calling.
Special.
It is really very special. And it was like, okay, I don't know what this is, but I want to be involved in it. And so that's so cool. So where do you use this in your coaching?
Great question. I use it sometimes just as going to the next session, kind of like a card of the week type of thing.
There's so many ways to use it.
Yeah, I have this one client who I remember jumps back and forth between but we didn't pick a card, but we didn't play today, but we didn't. Sure, that's play. Or then
pick away.
One week it's but I don't want to. I don't like that card. Okay, why don't you like that card?
Exactly.
It's okay not to like the card, but why? What about it that's striking you? So sometimes the layout charts that are in the coaching game are amazing. Past, present, future, relationships, depending on what subject we're talking about, relationship with mother-in-law or relationship with teenage daughter, or so on.
I find it's when you're stuck. When you're stuck and you just pull this out and go, okay, well, let's just play a little bit and see. And
that is
just amazing.
That is a great way, I would say, to all of your viewers that are coaches or trainers, if you're having those moments, it is a great response to that moment of as a coach, when you're feeling a little less confident about what's going on and you want to redirect, and you're not succeeding in reframing perhaps with your client, and you're not able to get them out of that thing, for sure. But sometimes I go into it with that absolute intention of using the game. Me personally, but both.
Yeah, I also find that it's good for self-coaching, because you can draw your own card and go, okay, today I'm going to deal with risk. I'm going to either avoid it or do, but whatever it is, that can be your thing. And also, there's not only there's 4 layouts on this, but that people create their own layouts based on their own scenarios or their clients or whatever happens. So you can go online, which is points-of-u.com.
And then go to downloads. If you go to downloads from there, you'll get lots of also images of some of our postcards, but also layout charts that you can download and print and use. I think ideal versus reality is also a process that I use the most.
Tell me about that.
It's when you choose 3 cards. One represents, you pick a situation, right? So some issue or challenge or choice you need to make, decision, something like this. And you choose a card, usually face down also, but you can do this face up to have someone kind of represent what is the ideal of this challenge or issue. What would you want everything to be? And then the reality, a card that represents the reality. We'll talk about a guide through guiding through looking at the photo and the word and everything. And then a card that bridges the gap from the ideal to the reality. From the reality to the ideal. That's what I meant.
I knew that.
And it was the first time I experienced this process. Actually, Yaron, co-founder of Points of View, did this process with me as we were preparing some training materials to create a script for training the trainers actually in how to do presentations when they're talking about their work at Points of View. And so I experienced it, and I love it. I just think it's a really great process.
Let me ask you, what was the interview like when you went to Points of View and said, I want to work for it? It had to be a little different, I guarantee.
Actually, my interview was with Talia Menachem. Talia and I were in communication via email for a long time, many months. And Points of View, they weren't yet ready to expand. They weren't hiring anyone to work with her and her team in business development. And then once she reached out to me, and I actually contacted her and said, I'm going to travel for a while. I'm going to India. I'm going to the States. If you don't hear from me, that's why. And she wrote back to me, great, tell me when you're back, because we're expanding and I want us to talk and meet.
Oh, how nice.
So, so I met Talia, and it was, fun.
They didn't make you pull a card or anything, right?
Talia and I didn't play, actually, that time. But it was, super fun and great to meet her. And
and
great.
So then you decided, okay, now I have the job and I'll move here, or had
I was already living in Israel.
Okay.
I was already living in Israel, so I've worked at Points of View for a year and a half.
Oh, okay.
Like and I've been in Israel almost 6 years.
Okay, all right. So what's next for Jamie Faye?
What's next?
I know you're working on a new website. We're debating whether we were going to put her potential name under there, but she hasn't gotten the
I want to make sure I have the domain,
before we could be advertising
people.
Someone else, yes.
Exactly.
That would be never nice. Good.
That would be paying it forward. But
so I will tell you that at this point, you can find her at pointsofview.com. right? They can
Sure,
find
you can
there.
find me on Facebook also.
Right.
Jamie Faye, actually have a page called Dynamic Coaching.
Oh, okay.
So you can find
she's
me
not
there.
hiding. We'll
No, or
find
you can contact Laurie and she'll
yes,
connect
and I'd be
us.
glad to
Or
tell
I can
them.
give my email. Is that okay?
Sure, it's up to you.
Sure.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I have an email. It's jamiefaycoaching@gmail.com.
Oh, that's
So you
easy.
can use
Okay. All right. So good.
Contacting me that way.
All right. So you're working on a new website.
Yeah.
And where's that website going to be directed? I mean, who's your ideal client? Do you have?
That's a
or
great
is it
question. I think I have two. Working with teams, like in companies, and doing workshops, and also coaching for team members. Not necessarily executive or managerial coaching, which I really like, but coaching for the team members, meaning that they get to meet with a coach monthly. I would really love to be involved in that one day.
Oh, so you're doing the entire and then maybe individual
I would love to
also.
do that in the future.
I think that would be so effective.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
not
think
only to coach the team, but to get each person and to make each person realize they're individual yet part of a team.
Yeah, I think that it's a huge gift and probably one of the most productive, efficient ways for a company, especially a large company, to have employee retention, happy employees that have someone they can actually talk to, that they don't have to pay outside of work. That's part of the benefits of the company.
Yeah.
And the other one is parents and kids. And everything, just supporting parents and in being the parents that they had dreamed of being, maybe not the parents that they are, because they're frustrated or things happen not the way they want them to, or to help them, really, to help them more and be the parents that they want to be.
It's a trial. I'm not a parent, but it's a trial and error. It's like, does this work? I should be doing this, but it doesn't work. So,
they really need support.
I'm probably not a parent because I just don't want to be bothered with it. Too much to figure out, but
Some people don't make that choice. It's a great choice to do what's right for you.
Absolutely. No, and I appreciate parents. Somebody's got to do it, and I appreciate that some people are doing it. And how will you use the points of view in your coaching just the same way that no matter which group it is?
For sure. I think that the coaching game and becoming a points of view trainer gave me so many resources of working with groups. Really, there's so many coaching methods now that have now branched out to, okay, now we also teach group coaching.
Yes.
But how do you do group coaching without a tool? It's still so frontal. It's still, missing the dynamic abilities that you have with a tool to talk about something, because you're changing your point of view. You're looking at it from a different perspective. You're not just saying what you already knew or already thought. And I think that group coaching without a physical tool or without some kind of movement, also I really like incorporating dance, like movement, different kind of movement into my workshops. That without that, it's dry.
It's dry, and today we're all bombarded with so much information that a lecture is not going to work. And so you've got to really take people by surprise.
Yeah.
Tell me what the difference is, because I hadn't actually heard, I've certainly heard of Tony Robbins, but a strategic intervention. Give me an example of that. Well, I mean, I love the title. It's hard to say, but I do like
I try
the
to
concept.
avoid saying
I
the
know.
title.
So you have to think that, okay, he realized that it's going to be difficult to say, so it must be worth saying it anyway.
Yeah.
So what's different? What do you find different between that and just regular coaching?
Awesome. Great question. So it was created by Tony Robbins and Chloe Madanes, who is one of the mothers of strategic family therapy. And her husband, I forgot his first name, did that for
Mr.
decades.
McDonald's.
I can't remember his name. So I think he had a different name actually, because they
probably.
kept their names. And her daughter, actually, Magali Pesha, her and her husband are my teachers. And the coaching is developed from organizational behavior, from strategic family therapy, a lot of Ericksonian background. It's not NLP. There are some strategies that are similar to NLP, but they're not copies of. They're new strategies. I would say that the coaching has a lot of strategies that are completely structured. Like, I have a session that has a complete structure that I take someone through a process that's an hour or 4 hours long, depending on, the purpose or what strategy or combination of strategies I'm using.
Wow.
And some are to get to know the person. The first few sessions are regarding, can be strength recognition, or for me to get to know the person. Some strategies can be, I don't want to give away a strategy.
No,
it's
I don't
just
think
like
you should.
Too
You probably
interesting.
paid a lot of money for them.
Not just that, not just that, just because if you ever experience it yourself, if you know it's going to happen, it's less effective for you.
That's exactly why I do the cards to face down, because if you start thinking about it, you'll choose the easy one. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I like that. And what I say about points of view, besides saying, I think I coined the phrase, it's a workshop in a box. You can just throw the cards out
that
and do
was
it.
you.
Yeah, that was me. But also, I tell people there are 65 cards, and attached to each card is a story or a parable or a folk tale or something, along with coaching questions and coaching quotes. You could theoretically buy this, have 65 coaching sessions and not have to do a thing. It's just amazing. So it sounds like that's kind of what you're doing with strategic intervention. You're taking different concepts and putting them together to meet your clients' needs and using the different tools that they give you. Does that make any sense?
Yes,
Good.
it does. I think that especially at the beginning of my coaching relationship with someone, I do similar things in getting to know them. So similar strategies that will change depending on the person. And then after the first few sessions, they are completely different depending on what we discovered in the first 3. So I pick and choose from about 30 of the most popular strategies and see where we are and say, okay, I'm going to use something called Coaching 360. Okay, and that's what I think will be most effective. Like you said, you're feeling stuck. Okay, what will be most effective right now where this person is today, not where they were last week? Which relationship are we talking about? Are we talking about their career? What are we talking about? And then choosing one.
Sounds like it's flexible, so you could throw in a card, or you could throw in another coaching tool or something like that, and just so you've got a little bit of everything going on. You got the body, you got.
That's kind of me.
Yeah,
that's a good description of
that.
me.
I think we realized that. So what's going to happen? What are you doing now? Or why are you just on vacation? You working? What you doing?
Good question.
I know you're not just on vacation.
No.
I made her work when she came to New York. Here we are.
This is fun.
Good.
Yeah. I'm here to go to our training that we have in New York.
I know,
on Wednesday. So like I said, we have trainers all over the world, and we have now face-to-face trainings. They're 5 days, 4 nights in beautiful locations all over the world. And this Wednesday, we have one in upstate New York at Bailey Farms. And our co-founder, Afrat Shani, will be facilitating, so I'm going to participate. I'm really excited about. And then I'm going to the Association of Talent Development conference to meet up with one of our trainers there and support him and help run the booth there. Very busy lady. I'm so thrilled that you took time out to be here, because I know that anybody who deals with points of view knows the name Jamie Faye. Because if you have a problem, you go to Jamie Faye. Or if you need something done, you go to Jamie Faye. So it's good to get to know you a little bit, just besides the name, and even with Skype, it's not the same. So I'm thanking you so much, because you can tell she's busy. Thank you for being such a fantastic guest. Thank you for having me.
It was fun.
Bye. It's nice to meet you all.